thank you for all coming. Just a little background. I'm a retired school teacher. Anyone else like that? Public school teacher? Okay. So he said, you want to sit down? It's like, I don't sit. Okay. So a couple of years ago, I started, when I was retiring, and I had more time to focus on my work that I've always been making, I belonged to a group called Professional Women Photographers, which two of my friends are here. And some people publish books. And I met with them and asked advice. And they freely gave me their advice. And so, turnkey, give it on. Okay, so how to get your work published, or why to get it published, or some of the things to do. And these are some of the things I've learned and mistakes I've learned from along the way. Like how to go forward. Okay. Okay. So again, there's many ways to make a book. This woman just said you could just publish through Lightroom. I didn't know that. I'm taking a class this week. Okay. So these are lessons I've learned. That's not the only way. There's many ways to do everything. No one right way. Very important questions. Why do you want to make a photo book? What is the main idea? You can't put everything in. What is the main idea of this one first or second or this particular dream book? You have a story, whether it's a fiction or fact, you have a story to tell. You can't tell it all in this one. You could give it a start. And who do you think will be your audience? Like if it's for your grandchildren, you will think a lot about what you choose to include and not include. Or whether it's geared for kids or an adult matter, you think about who do you want this audience to be. Okay, it is a labor of love. It's very labor intensive and time intensive, and so. And focus and organization is not natural to me. So you learn skills, you pick up skills, you force yourself, but it takes a lot. And the most important thing with everything, like the little train that could, you have to say, you can do it. You're worthy. This is important. You want to do it. You can do it. You need to positively self-talk yourself through the process. It's too easy to naysay yourself. You're your worst critic. You have to become your best fan. Okay, so once you figure out your main idea, because that's really good, to do it all is overwhelming. You didn't just live for 1 week, experience one thing. It's like a lot. Then you have an archive, whatever you might call it, everything on your hard drive, things in your photo albums, things you've been collecting. You have to look through it, and with that main idea in mind, or there's no have to, with that main idea in mind, start collecting things, like rock collecting, gem collecting. If they happen to be digital, make dupes of those digitals, put them in a file, okay? If you have analog photos, which my books were for my analog, then you start going through them and looking through them. I didn't even have time, looking through a loop, however you do it. Start picking things out. And I'm going to give you a tip, because I learned in my first book. Don't separate those things you want to scan from the rest and then have to put it back. Take the whole page, put a tab on it. Otherwise, it's a nightmare putting everything back in place. So I use like post-ums to mark things I want. Slides are easy. I can put them on a page. But don't avoid pulling apart your negatives. Just put a little tab. I highly suggest using a really great quality scanner. I can't afford a scanner that's in the 5-figure range, but nor could I maintain it. Here's a tip. If most of you are in New York City or you're in New York State, you're here, we have public schools, city colleges, state colleges, community colleges. Take a class. And in a school, find out if they have a photo media any kind of design department, chances are they have really good scanners. And once you're taking a class, you can have access to your equipment. That's how I did this. Otherwise, you're paying somebody a lot of money, but start with high quality. I also did the route. I'm going to suggest my first book. First, I did low-res scans, and then I did high-res scans. Guess what? After I picked, I did double the work. If you have an instinct that this is a good image, even if it's not this one, do the better quality scan for the start. Then you don't have to redo it. I felt like I, did double time. You can also rent places, or you can, ICP is another place, or if you're a member of Center for Photography Woodstock, they rent it to members very inexpensively. They have an Imacon scanner. There's other routes besides investing in this. Okay, so again, I think if you're being scanned, scanning your work, go for the best quality. At least 300 dots per inch, pixels per inch for the dimensions you intend. I go even bigger because I want to be able to print them larger. Okay? There's a thing called 16-bit versus 8-bit. I'll go for the 16. Scan them. Don't worry if you don't know how to do this. If you decide to learn how to do it, and you take classes at one of these places, and the lab manager, they'll help you. Okay? Scan it RGB. And save as TIFF rather than Photoshop. If black and white, I still could scan in color and then convert to black and white later. Get all the information there. When you're saving and naming your files, be very specific, descriptive, something you're going to know, and don't change the name. I want to remember that it's called Self-Portrait Mirror. 1975's Self-Portrait Mirror. I don't want to change looking in the mirror. You want to be able to do a search for your image and always find it. So be really consistent and you wouldn't name your child or your pet and then change the name every time you look at them, right? They wouldn't know who they were. You want to be able to find your images. And later on, when you decide you want a printer, then you convert to CMYK, and whatever they say, or if you work, a designer's helping you, however it's done, you do that later, because they're bigger. Okay. I suggest making a mock-up book. There's almost everything you can Google. How do I make I called it a dummy book. It's not. This is a more. I like this word better. Mock-up better book. How to make a photo mock-up book, and you'll look at sources. Here's one Shutterloved online. My first time, I can't even believe I threw it away. I'm such a collector. I printed out all my little pictures, and I had them folded in paper, and I tried different layouts, and I kept them. And it's shocking to me that I actually threw that away. I'm proud of myself for throwing it away, but then again, I could have shown it to you. Okay. Another way. My first book, I did a physical thing, the books and laying it out and trying different orders. And then I did use a PDF, a digital version, to rearrange things. I made a make-believe with low-res images. Whatever way works. But you have to practice deciding on the order of things, which images are going to stay, maybe thinking about how many pages you want, and selecting. But the book is, we're making art with our images. And the order and what you choose is really important. When you're making this mock-up, and that could be, you're taking a bunch of white paper, literally, this is how I did it, and you fold it in half. And you might trim it, you might say, gee, do I want to make a vertical or horizontal, which book? And and remember, a printed book has to be done in multiples of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You can't have a book with 21 pages. It has to be 20 or 24. And leave room, say, title page. Oh, this is where I'll have my copyright. This is where I'll have my credits. You want a page, believe it or not, You want a page to sign your book. You know, you have to have a place to expect a title page where people sign it. Okay? You're gonna just think about what you're going to want to put in it. If you a blank page, it's a more expensive book. Okay, pages are money. Okay, so think about what you want in there and what's needed, and think about the whole book later on. Okay, it's the cover, front cover, the back cover, the spine. Very important that in the spine of the book, when it's in a shelves with so many others, that people catch yours as well. We want to tell the book by the cover. But I didn't decide on my covers until I went through the whole process, and then I really like which image really screamed to me. So I'm going to take you through an idea. Of course, if you're going to have, some people have a image on one side and maybe just a title over here. I wanted to fill up both pages, not just for economics, but because of my theme, my main idea of the book, which was juxtaposing two worlds. And my first book was about a tale of two cities, Disco Era Bushwick, where on the right side of the book are photographs that I took as a school teacher for 14 years in Bushwick. And then on the left side were the pictures from my disco days and nights, and comparing those two worlds. So whatever it is, or if you do a spread, when someone opens a book, these tell a new story. So you have to think about positioning if you're putting things face to face. And so examples, and on the right I use color, on the left black and white. But how things talk, it creates a new, and when you're going page to page, it's a new feeling. You're leading a story on. I want my pictures to tell stories. But description, I always had a title and a date, but you might want to use text or interviews. So I was looking for things that complemented or contrasted or related. And there I am with my point and shoot camera. Bushwick High School. And David says, yes, you're taking a lot of pictures, a lot of pictures. Time is a gift. I always had trouble editing. Given the space of 30 or 40 years, I'm much better at looking. But I have to do faster now. Okay, so that was my goal, to make a relationship. Okay. Okay, the second book was and I am not self-published. I'll go with that. A very small, beyond boutique press in Bushwick published my work, which is a miracle. But we'll talk about a little bit of the process too. But after the first book came out and received an amazing amount of attention, they were like open to a second one right away. And I said I wanted to tell the story of why I took the kind of pictures I did. Let's take it back a notch to the beginnings of my photography. And the next book was about growing up in Long Island and coming to New York City, the things my experiences, and that I saw humor in Bushwick when it was not hot like it is now for the same reasons, and I wanted to show that humor is a part of my upbringing. I think it's in my DNA and survival and coming to the city. the two worlds that were there. Things that are, you know, my life. We all walk in many worlds. And I'm fortunate that in both books, through my world, in both books, I have friends who are poets, writers, who shared experiences, who wrote text for me, and in exchange, when Emmanuel published his poetry book, my picture is in his book, okay? Or a relative who I respect, who did research, who's been active in the world of social sciences during the 70s today, an excerpt from his writing. I like to have other people's writing as well as my own. And nobody knew my name besides people who knew me before my books came out. And I have very shallow pockets, as the expression goes. A friend of mine through our organization, PWP, Professional Women Photographers, Catherine Kirkpatrick, whose blog writing I respected, I asked if she'd write an introduction. She wrote an introduction. She got quoted in the New Yorker for both books. I mean, you may think I don't have an expert, I don't have a curator. You have friends who are your experts. Someone who you respect what they write about, maybe how they write letters to you, and writing about yourself. Okay, so the image, you know, seems like a very timely photograph. What's America? Okay, people's asking about releases. Some things I will say off camera, off tape, because I don't want to have my Trump moment, but do I walk around with press releases? No, I do street photography, okay? There are presses that will not publish your work if you don't have, especially the bigger they are, if it lets you, even street photographs. This is art, so it's a work of art. However, and you will copyright your work, even your blurb book or your Lightroom book for your cousins, for your grandchildren, copyright your work, okay? If somebody contributes to your book, it's their work. You don't own their copyright. When you submit to the Copyright Office, you must have a written release from them, or it will hold up the process, or you will not get the copyright. So this is a must. And yes, you must respect your rights. You must respect your intellectual property and give it the respect of copywriting it. Okay. Gee, how do I get a release? Oh, Google, sample release, contributed to a book. Boom, boom. You'll find plenty. Think the right question, you'll find answers. Or hire an attorney. Or become part of a professional group that you can ask other people questions, which is why I like to belong to colleagues, a like-minded group. And here, Duke Press. I used one of their permission letters and adapted it. And so, and this is two friends, a physical release, or it could also be signed digitally and mailed back. And what I'm requesting, and they retained a copyright, blah, 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 signed it, returned. So there's not a misunderstanding, but also, so your work can be copyrighted. The book can be copyrighted and you're not stealing their work, okay? So that's letting you know this is important. Maybe could we save questions to the end? Thank you. So write that next question. Very important. From the get-go. Google, how to get an ISBN barcode. I have a friend who was having a one-woman show, was going to go from place to place to place. She made a hardcover catalog. She did not get this thing called a ISBN. Guess what? No book store will carry it. not a museum bookstore. You know, they have to be able to scan it and get the pricing in there. So you're holding yourself back. Yes, it costs a little money. It's not that much. But get that. Even, take out that word even. For any book that you're putting out, if it's a multiple, go through to get a registered barcode. Because my friend really regretted that and gave me, just say that was a word of advice she gave. Okay, how do you get it? Of course you Google, how do I get ISBN? And it's just one company that handles it. Okay, and usually you can hide it in the corner, sure, but you're going to make the cashier very frustrated. The common places on the back. It's got to be scannable. Okay, so it's on the back. You're cutting off the world if you forget to do it. Okay. How do you copyright your work? If you forget, ask the right question. It'll always come up to the same place. I waited till the entire book was done. A publisher is not going to steal your work. Anyone reputable, they're not going to take your work and put it out. When you had the whole physical book done, and you have to send 2 copies to them, I mean, they instruct you how to do it. I did it that way. And I'm proud to have my books in the Library of Congress. You know, it's like to have a physical book. So you can self-publish. You can propose your book to a publisher. I also have 2 friends who use their self-made book to send us off to publishers, and were successful. Okay? So you're making a model. Okay. I feel like it helped me to go through the proposal process to even clarify in my mind, just like when you're in school and learning how to write a paper for the first time, and make index card, make outlines, headers, subheaders. An outline was helpful. So it made me think through the process of the book by going through the process of writing it, making a proposal. And again, this was through my friend who had at PWP who did have a book published. And I asked her, how did you do this? She took a course. So we're doing it in like an hour. She took a course on how to prepare a proposal. And a good tip, we're in New York City. You can go to the Strand and see almost every book imaginable. Go through them. See who might like your work, you know? I have another friend who has a series of really highly controversial pictures and submitted it to a very mainstream publisher. It's like they even said, you know, look for work. You can tell by if you look at their work, they don't publish that kind of work. You know, look, if you do edgy work, see who publishes edgy work. Okay, so find lists. See if they all have an online presence. See if you can find out how to submit a proposal to blank, and they'll do it. And this is something I know from having many family members and extended family who are writers, professional writers. Journalism, you know, printed books, publishing is it's a special world with a lot of like mannerisms and codes for behavior. If your work is your love, it's your work of love. To work with a publisher is a relationship. Would you be engaged to 2 people at the same time? No. Okay. You submit your proposal. You submit to one publisher, and you wait for their response. This is a writer told me who's published many books. If they never respond back to you, write them. Have they concern? You want to wait to either get a yes, no, want more, a nice rejection, whatever it is. But according to my mentor, if I apply to publisher A and they say yes, and then I get one from publisher B, it's a small world. They'll hear about you and they'll both reject you. That's a key thing. It's just the way it is. Okay. And some of them have like Schiffer books, like a big list of all the things they want. Okay. Here's Public Brave, how to submit. They even have a proposal form. So look at the publishers and look what they want. If you want to make a general one, looking at these, research. How to create a photo book proposal. This is literally the site that I use. He has samples by Harold Davis. It has samples, images, make it professional. I literally looked at that as a template. And from my other friends who submitted proposals, what they included, and other lists. And I'm going to show you my first proposal that I sent out to many, not many, one at a time, photo publishers. And this documented the whole thing, but some of the essentials. And it was a PDF, so I could email it or send it on a CD. What I thought the book was going to be at the time. How to get in touch with me. My summary, what it will be, how I envision it, the outline, and it makes you think of the process. I mean, you're going to spend a lot of, if you're self-publishing, to begin with, you're going to be spending a lot of time. Think of it through beforehand. It'll help you. It's like going from New York to California. Having a roadmap really helps. Make your roadmap. I knew who I want to ask, my friends who I want to ask for their writing. Who would write the introduction? Looking back, who my target audience. If you have any reviews of your work, start exhibiting. Okay, anything, any excerpts. It helps. Okay, where it might be marketed and sold. You're doing the research for them. This will all be online, which is B&H publishes all. Just want you to know, isn't that great? Okay, and and how? Okay, just you want to be similar to what they have, but you don't want to be the same. Okay, how is it different from other books that are out there? If there's nothing like it before, gee, maybe it won't sell. Why this book? And now, since there's a Vivian Meyer, like unknown street photographer, then there could be a Meryl Meisler, and there could be you. The Pandora's box was open. It's a hot item. You could be the next hot item. There's they can't use that nobody knows you. Oh, unknown, fantastic. Okay, and I also included samples, and you can see I tried to be as professional. The name of my proposal, the images, and I think I submitted like 25 images. Some have only send 10 to begin with. Okay. That book ended up changing into a different kind of book. But when someone else asked me, have you ever thought about it, publishing a work? I said, yes, and here's my proposal right then. And that was great. Save your proposal, save your PowerPoints. Okay, distribute. Okay, you've published a book. It's distributing. It's your family. Yes, you're going to give it to them. If you want to try to get it more out there, why not? Physically, there are a lot of boutique stores right here in our city that carry photography work. They're not going to answer your emails. physically go into the place, have the book, find out the name of the person who's in charge of the book buyer. If you don't, just say, who do I address it to? What's the name? Put it in an envelope, have a letter inside of it, how to contact you, the suggested wholesale and retail price of the book. There is a formula, usually like 60-40, a 30-70, okay? But you can say, yeah, my book is, the wholesale price is 30, retail price is 45. Think about whether you want to handle online sales. I don't, okay? It's not me. But, they will, from my experience, they want to see the physical book and know you won't get it back. Okay, let it go. So maybe just do one at a time. But and then there's publicizing yourself. Yes, you could hire a you can hire a publicist. My friend who had published the book before, I asked, the key thing she told me was, besides making a proposal, was that a publisher, you're not their only customer. Or they have other things going on. If it's such a small thing, it's like not how they're supporting themselves either. It really is your responsibility to make it happen, to get it out there. This is your life's work. Okay? I have a whole other presentation through B&H called Get to Know the Publicist in the Mirror. I never knew I could do it, but I did it. And I think I summoned up my mother's, Sunny, her spirit, to like say, you know what? The other way didn't work. Being quiet, waiting, being shy, hoping someone else will discover it didn't work. I have to do it. And so, but if you can hire a publicist, bravo. No sarcasm. Publicists are great. I can't and pay my bills. Okay, press read for your shows, for your books, for anything. A press release is extremely important. What is written in here, having the essentials, what it is, when it is, when's the launch party, try to arrange to have shows and everything with it. What you write in here is going to either grab people or they'll recycle it and ask more questions. It's so important. Press releases really work. And what they say is really important. Give it a lot, ask other people's help. Do your drafts yourself. But really, very important. And I literally follow the format of ICP. Look at role models. I want my shows to look like museum quality. Look what a museum puts in their work. Make it a one page. They have an image. They have the contact. Just follow their formulas. It's a working formula. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, or the jet stream that will be here later on. For even the price, how many pages, the ISBN number, the price, everything's on there. Yes. You're going to make a book? Join, if you don't have a community of people, join an artist group. Network. Find a way for someone to let you give a presentation, B&A, let you have an exhibit to help launch it, make a party, whatever it is. If you've ever, how many people here have ever put on an exhibit? Okay. It's an enormous amount of work, right? You have to be into it. It's going to be an enormous amount of work, and I consider it a party where that I can invite people and people can leave and it's not my house. You have to really say, you have to dig it. You have to start to love it. You have to make it part of your joy. Because if it doesn't, it's just a lot of work. Okay? Exhibits, events, presentations, do it all. The more you speak, the more you're comfortable speaking. And, I was lucky to have the Bazaar Bar and in Bushwick, not just give a big launch and exhibition, but to have disco parties, and I invited friends to I launched my books during Bushwick Open Studio, so it's like amazing, and having different people come and give presentations. You have a network. I mean, I taught with Roy, and I taught at ICE. Come perform, make as many things as possible, and enjoy it. Get a special outfit, okay? E-blasts are very powerful tools. It's like I can go into different companies, but it really gets a lot out there. And what's going on? Have a consistent look. Okay, what's going on? Then if you get people commenting, I started writing quote. First I would just put press links, and it's like, you know what? Let me take when they advertise a Broadway show, they give an excerpt. You know what? This is my Broadway show. Put an excerpt. Okay, so like the phenomenal press. You know what? I'm over the top. Okay, so I'm over the top. And your Facebook page should represent it. I mean, Facebook invites, another powerful tool. You get press, put it up there. Share it. Okay. My website. It's really not a lot on my website. It's just like some images from the Sassy books, Disco Era Bush, different how to contact me, different. Press links, what I'm doing, even says, I'm giving this presentation today, but it's really not very complicated. So thank you for being a good audience.